Okay, we're up to Daf Sadik Amid Aleph, the final blot in Masechta Gitin. And really, to understand this, we need to do the pasuk that we began the Masechta with and the pasuk that we're going to end the Masechta with. Pasuk is Perachaf Dalit in Kiseitse. And the pasuk says, Kikach ish isha uba'ala, if a man takes a woman in marriage, Kikach is lashon lekuchin, uba'ala, he lives with her, v'hayim le'simtzachein be'einav, and the if is a very good word over here. We don't know what it means. And why? If she doesn't find favor in his eyes, and the key is crucial. Why doesn't she find favor in his eyes? And key could mean because he found an ervastavar, or key could mean if he found the ervastavar. So he found the matter of morality, meaning she wasn't loyal to him. The chasala sefer krisus. Then he writes for her a sefer krisus, a book of which we know is a get. The nasim biyada, he gives it to her hand. The shulch mi beso, and he sends her away. The yasim mi beso v'holchav ha'is l'shacher, and she goes. She leaves his house, and she goes. She says lish acher, not to ish sheni, but lish acher. Usaneya ish achron. The second person hates her as well. The chasala sefer krisus v'nasim biyada, and the shulch mi beso. So again, that's all redundant. But the chiddush is over there that kiyamus ishahu, if he dies, you can't take it back. That will be machzeh gerusha. So if a man divorces his wife, and as long as she marries somebody else, he can never take her back. If he does go ahead, doesn't remarry somebody else, as long as he's not a Kohen, then he could take her back. If he's even a Kohen, then he would not be able to take her back. So we're going to see a big machlokus Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, and Rabbi Akiva, how to go ahead and learn the words ki matzah ba ervastava. How to learn the words ki matzah ba ervastava. I figured that could have was. I figured that could have. Okay, on the Sadik Amid Aleph at the top. Beis Shammai Yomrim says Beis Shammai, like Yigarish Adam es Ishtoi, a person should not divorce his wife, Ella only im kain matzah ba ervastava. The only reason for divorce is immorality. Shneimar, because the pasuk says ki matzah ba ervastava, the chasla sefer krisus v'nasan biyadai. So he takes it literally that the divorce is brought upon. Why? Because ki matzah ba ervastava. Beis Hillel says, "Afilu hikdicha tafshila." Even if she burns, certainly if she finds an ervastava, but afilu hikdicha tafshilo, if it burns the food, shenemar ki matzah ba ervastava, and we go ahead, we darshan oy erva oy davar. We learn it not erva darva. We learn it as two separate things. If he finds erva, an Indian of erva, an Indian of immorality, or a davar, or he finds a matter or something else totally, right? And in this case, it's the burning of food. It's fascinating that usually Beis Shammai is the machmir and Beis Hillel is the mekel. Over here, Beis Hillel is the machmir. Beis Hillel is the machmir. Right? There's and the question was raised by Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, like l'chayre Beis Hillel is his midas. The reason we paskin like Beis Hillel is because of his outstanding midas. We had the Gemara in Eruvin. It's like Beis Shammai is mechudin and tefei. Beis Shammai is sharper, and really Allah should be in conjunction with Beis Shammai but the midas of Beis Hillel always put Beis Shammai first. You never see Beis Hillel says this, Beis Shammai says this. You always say Beis Shammai says first. So he says a very fascinating thing there. So it doesn't make sense because that sometimes burning of the food is melamed zkus on a person. And I heard the story from my mother or my grandmother. I forgot the story, and it really illustrates the point. But Yaakov says, he says a guy gets married, and his wife is making chal. This mamish, my grandmother told me the story, and she tried for like a long time to make chal like the mother, and it mamish didn't work. No matter what she did, it didn't work. It just wasn't the mama's challah. And one Shabbos, by accident, she left it in and it burnt. It got well done and well done. She was aghast. She didn't know what to do, but she had no choice. So she served them to that. Brings in the challah, serves the challah. He goes, "I saw you schmuck. I saw you the mama." Because that was the. My grandmother told me the story. So sometimes burning of food can be viewed as as a Mila. You can have midas, like so they still here showing the midas of a person that even if you burn the challah, you can go ahead and divorce. So that's very, very interesting. Okay, so we have Beis Shammai saying Kimatzav Erva Stava, and we have Beis Hillel saying either Erva or Dava. Now we have a third opinion, is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Afilu Matza Acheres Nahimena. Even if he finds a woman more attractive, he could divorce his wife. Shneimar, if she doesn't find favor in his eyes, right? You can go ahead. Now, Rabbi Akiva, somebody asked me, said, how could the Heilige Rabbi Akiva say such a thing? And the answer is, Rabbi Akiva is darshaning a pasuk. It's not im. It says im. The pasuk says clearly, if she doesn't find favor in his eyes, because he found someone who's better. So that's a three machlokes. Beis Shammai is saying he's being the biggest makel. The only way you can go divorce the wife is forever stava. Beis Hillel being more expansive, not lav dafka that, and Rabbi Akiva being the most machmir, right? That you can divorce your wife even if you find one more attractive. Okay, this share will not be repeated when your wife comes home and you say, "Honey, what you learned tonight?" This is not the share to repeat. Okay, say we learned that we're going to learn Masechta Kedushin. You finished Gitin, we're learning Kedushin. Right. You want?
Change the life. I gotta find that Daf Yomi.
Tanya, Amar Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, says Beis Hillel to Beis Shammai, but like for Nemar, Davar, right? Beis Hillel says, how could you say, fellas, it's only if in of morality? Davar means what? A matter. It means lav dafka erva. It means davar. Now, again, the answer to the question in the dialogue we're going to see is Beis Hillel splits erva and davar. So it's erva, one thing, and davar, whereas Beis Shammai goes ahead and connects the two. So he doesn't go ahead and split them, as we're going to see. But Beis Hillel goes ahead and he presents Beis Shammai and says, 1 second, it says davar. How can you limit it to what the erva? So Amalem Beis Shammai v'loy k'fay nerma ervas. So Amalehem Beis Hillel in nerma ervas v'loy nerma davar. If it just said ervas and it didn't say davar, I would have said the following: Mishum erva teitze, mishum davar loy teitze. You divorce erva, yes, but davar not. But davar, if it was a matter of davar, then what? Then not. L'kach nema. Therefore, it says davar. And therefore, it says davar in order to go ahead and say that for davar you get divorced as well. The ilu nema davar v'lo nema ervas, and let's say you would just say davar and you wouldn't say the word ervas. You see, I mean, mishum davar tinase la'acher, or mishum erva loy tinase la'acher. In other words, if it's an inyan of erva, I would say that you don't get even at all. I would say you can't get divorced. She can't be married at all. Davar, she can marry somebody else. Erva, she can't marry somebody else. The kach nerma, erva. Therefore, it says erva davar to tell me even if it's erva davar, she can marry somebody else. But Beis Shammai, hi davar my avdilei. Beis Shammai, since he learns erva's davar, obviously he only says the reason for divorce is erva. What does he do with the word davar? He's not dashing the word davar. He says no, tremendous reason, tremendous famous gezeira shava. Nemer kan davar v'nemer lahalan davar. Apishnayim edim o apishleisha edim yakum davar. Malahalam mishnei edim, just like over there, just like over there, it's speaking what every avera you need 2 edim. So too Afkan mishnei edim. So too over here you need what you in Afkan you need edim brurim in order to be us. Look at Rashi. Afkan be edim brurim. Ein an eseres la mishum erva elevated brura. She again a site the fellas as remember is really a suffix like that. We don't know for sure. But the asa for sure you need to aid them to the Maisa of Bia. But we have Reglayel Medava, there's a Maisa of Bia. There was 80 for the Kina and the Stira, but again, to kill that should be asa, you would take 2 Adam. So it's Dava. Malham Shayam Kam Shayam. Beis Hillel. Now Beis Hillel clearly learns that because they were shav. It seems to be that was given. But Beis Hillel, so the question is, if he learns ervas dav as 2 separate things, how does he go ahead and where does he know dava? Says the Gemara, Beis Hillel miksiv oy erva oy dava, and Beis Hillel miksiv erva bid. Beis Hillel says miksiv erva bid davar. It doesn't say erva bid dava and erva in the matter. Mashmit's one thing. it says erva dava, two separate things. Or beishamai miksiv oy erva oy dava, or beisil hachi ksiv erva dava. The mashma hachi. It says that it's mashma either one. It's mashma erva or it's mashma dava. So the machloikas between beishamai and Beis Hillel clearly is to what extent everyone learns davar. It's erva is collected to davar according to Beis Shammai. It's connected to davar. Erva davar according to Beis Hillel. It's oy erva oy davar. Rabbi Akiva, he was focusing on you don't find favor in the eyes, right? He was focusing on that.
I want you not to worry about anything except you and your.
Should I unmute it? All of a sudden, all of a sudden, I got picked up in shir. I said, "Oh wow." She didn't burn the soup.
She doesn't cook upstate.
This upstate, everything's burnt. Everything tastes burnt.
No, she eats the
Okay. Anyway, now, okay, so guys, what's the machloikis? Now, fellas, this is geschmack. Did you ever hear that we can this full shyness of key? What key can mean? If, maybe, but, and because. Right. If, maybe, but, and because. Right. So depending on how the key is used, it makes a big difference in the drasha over here. Both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel learn it as because. If you look at, let's do this before. I think it's geschmack. Look at it's Perachaf Dalet. Perachaf Dalet. Okay. Ki yikach bala vayalim simsachem ve'enav. Ki because matzah ba'ervas dava he found in ervas dava. So that's the Beis Shammai darshans, right? Beis Hillel also darshans the key the same way. Ki because matzah ba ervas, he found an Indian of erva, and davar he found it also other matters like burning the food. Whereas Rabbi Akiva learns im is ki, guys. So read the pasuk like this: Ki gachishisha bala, vayim loy simsachem einav. She doesn't find favor in his eyes. Ki, right. Ki if ki matzah ba ervas dava. If he found an ervas dava, what does if mean? You know, it's in addition to something else, like in the simchachem be'enav, also ki matzah be'ervas dava. So that's he darshans the key as if, and that's the mashmor sadrashin. It could be nayu to influence how they learn pshat, and that's the way the Gemara will read. My kamiflagi b'derei shlakish, tam reish lakish ki mishamish b'dal l'shaynis. The word ki can be used 4 different ways: if. Dilma, maybe or perhaps, Ella, but or only, the ha because. Beis Shammai Savri and Beis Hillel, the ha imlis simsachem be'enav. Why? Why does he find favor in his eyes? Ki because matzah ba ervas dava. The ha because matzah ba ervas dava. And he doesn't. Rashi speaks out. The Gemara doesn't speak out Beis Hillel shita, but Beis Hillel also ki because. But again, because erva or because davar. But the ki means the because. It means the same way. Now, how about this? Rabbi Akiva savar ki matzah ba'ervas dava, nami matzah ba'ervas dava. If also he finds an ervas dava. In other words, imloy simsachem be'enav, the beginning of the pasuk, and inami or else he didn't find what. But you see that what the way he darshan is the influence in the pshat. Amalei Rapapa l'Rava. Like matzah, like erva, like dava, like Beis Hillel. If you don't find an Indian of erva or you don't find burning of the food, do you have? Can you take her back? In other words, can you take her back? In other words, do you force the guy to take her back? Do you force him to take her back? Let's say, in other words, he divorced her, and according to Beis Hillel, there's 2 reasons, and end up none of those reasons being true. Would he have to take her back or not? That's the Gemara's query. And for the Gemara. With the Goli Rachmana Gabi Einis. If a man forces himself upon an Isha, the pasuk tells us the Nasa Isha Shoichev Imo La'avi Anayra Chamishim Kasef. The man who was Ma'anis, who physically forced himself upon a woman, gives the father of the girl Chamishim Kasef. She's a Naira. V'loisia Leisha, and to him she will be a wife. Tachas She'ina, since he was Ma'anaha, he pained her. And La Yuchel L'Shachal Kol Yamav, the Torah protects her and says La Yuchel L'Shachal Kol Yamav. So what's the limud, guys? This is the only scenario where a man cannot divorce his wife. Any other scenario he could if he did, and therefore we won't make him take it back. Okay. Kol yamav ba'amad v'hichser kai. Hasam hu degali rachmana. Aval hacha, but over here, where he divorced her for the wrong reason, right? The ka'avid of it, whatever he did, and we won't force her to take him back. Amle Ramashashil l'Rava. Im liboy legarsha. Let's say he's in his mind, he's going to divorce her. Im liboy legarsha, in his mind, he's going to divorce her. And she doesn't know what he's thinking. And she's busy cooking supper for him, cleaning, washing his clothing and whatnot. Mahu. Is there's an oynish. She wants to know if this is a bad thing. So Kariyalad, Rabbi said the pasuk, al tachroish, al re'acha ra'a. Don't tachroish, don't think, don't plan. Al re'acha ra'a. Yoshev levetach itach, and he's sitting levetach with you. In other words, one should be, if you really want to add out. In other words, you have to be toichei kebaru. Your inside has to be like your out. The outside has to be like your inside. Tanya. Of people are different regarding Michael. They're people who, we know there's different level of istiness, right? There's different levels of istiness, and those levels of istiness has their parallel in the world of immorality. For example, that is zvuv. A fly would fall into his kos, his cup. His zarkai, there's no way he's not gonna drink it, no matter what. Even though you took it out, right? No matter how expensive the wine is, he's not drinking it because it was there. So his level of istiness is very strong, and so too regarding his wife, Linyan Pritzis, he's very, very strong. Now you think this is a good thing that he's so makbid. Bezui midas Papis ben Yehuda. This was the midah of Papis ben Yehuda. We had a Gemara in Chagiga Daf Dalid. We remember the name Miriam Megadla Nashia. She was the hairdresser, or as she's known in the vernacular as Mary Magdalene. If you ever, this is Mary Magdalene, Mary Megadla Nashia. She was a hairdresser, and he was so makbid on his wife, he would lock the door. That finally the first chance she got, she was a mizana with somebody. So a person who's in that such a hakpada in his food, and it parallels to the way he treats his wife and expectation from his wife, then that's not a good thing. That's an extreme. That's not very, very good. He goes ahead and he takes it, he throws it out, and he drinks it. And that's the normal way a person treats his wife. She can speak to her brothers, he's not makbid. Then he has the zvuv falls into the big pot tafshel, and it's not saying his kais because in the food it gets mixed in. If it was his kais, you throw it out. So here it's in his big pot, it gets mixed in, and he eats the zvuv. It's in there, right? It's protein. Because you laugh. My simcha was in the yeshiva in Waterbury, and breakfast. This is talking about many, many moons ago. And he looked in the oatmeal, and there's bugs. And the cook, who didn't know any better, said, "Yeah, it's protein."
Yeah.
Yes, in the future, why does it stop and start? Anyway, so this person, this person who would eat the fly that's in his chalent, this adam ra. He's not makbid on any pieces of his wife. He sees his wife go out in the street. Her hair is undone. The tavai b'shuk. She goes ahead and she sits and she knits in the marketplace where people can see her. Uparua. And she has slits on the side of her clothing that reveals her flesh. And she literally bathes with men. If you're telling me she bathes with men, it's not a mitzvah to divorce her, it's a chiyuv to divorce her, fellas. She's bathing with men, she's an adulteress. It's not, she's not. So the Gemara says, we're speaking about different extremes in pretzis, but not an outright adulteress. So you're telling me she's going to go ahead and bathe with men. She doesn't bathe with men, but she bathes in a place where men do bathe as well. So in that case, mitzvah and Torah legorsha, it's a mitzvah and Torah to divorce. Shneimar ki matzah erva stava v'shilchem mibeso. If you find the erva stava, v'shilchem mibeso. Okay. Says the Gemara Vaita. V'holcha v'hoislish acher. The pasuk says she'll go and she'll be with another man. It's very funny. The Torah says lashon ish acher. Hakasav koroi. The Torah calls him an ish acher. Why ish acher? In contrast to the first husband, loymar shein ze ben zuga l'rishon. This acher he's an acher vis-a-vis the first husband. He's a total acher. Why? Because this person who divorced her got rid of his rishanta from his house. In this one goes to Edward and brings the Russia into his house. So this rishanta in the house. So therefore, he's an acher. He doesn't act in the same way as in Ben Zugo. He doesn't have the same. Usually Ben Zug usually means the same astrological sign, but it means it's certainly in nature not the same as this one. Sacha Sheni, if the second one is Zoicha, then Shulcha. He'll send her away. Shenemar, Usnea Isha Achrain. Okay, let's look at the pasuk again, guys. Let's bring it out, pick out the pasuk again. If you haven't studied Gemara, you could. So for Yatzmi Beis of Acha. So at the end of pasuk Beis, now pasuk Gimel, Usnea Isha Achrain. The second husband hates her. The cost of la sefer creases, v'nasan biyada, v'shilchem beislei, or kiyamas yishachrein, or he dies. So what do we do with that drasha? Says the Gemara. Let's finish the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Imzacha sheni shilcha shnei usnei yishachrein v'im lav, and he doesn't divorce her. Keivartoi, she'll bury him. Shneimar, as the pasuk continues, oy kiyamas yishachrein. Pirish. What does that mean? Kedai hu b'misa. This guy, the second husband's kedai to die. This person took this rishah out of his house. The first husband, and this one brings into his house. Okay, the pasuk says in Malachi. No, you definitely could marry a person like that. You definitely could. You definitely could. Again, it's a mussar lesson. Like certainly a person who gets divorced, if it's an Indian of a woman who acts a certain way, and it's acting a certain way because the husband very often the husbands bismana said don't care the way the women act. If anything, they want their woman to look a certain way. But again, if the woman is of such a ilk and you check into a shidduch and it doesn't bother you, it's mashma, it's not such a good thing. It's not a good choice for a wife. It's not a good choice. Now the pasuk in Malachi says the following. This pasuk says, Hisane shalach amar Hashem Elokei Yisrael, the chisa chamas al levushay, the kisa chamas al levushay amar Hashem tzavakos. So it says when ishmartem bruchachem v'lo sibagdu. So what does it mean kisanei shalach? What does that mean? Rabbi Yehuda Omer im senesa shalach, right? Im senesa shalach. If he hates her, he should divorce her, like Rabbi Akiva said before. That even if he doesn't find anything wrong with her in her actions, but for some reason he doesn't find her attractive, so she is senea lo, she's unattractive to him, and that lashon sena means snei sabal. It's coming on the bal of disha. Im senesa. If the husband snei help, then shalach he should send her away. That's what Rabbi Yehuda is saying. It's going on the husband. Rabbi Yehuda says. Rabbi Yochanan says no. The sonahu hamishaleach is the one who sends her away. The one who sends her away, the mishaleach who sends her away, right? If you do, in other words, if you find good reason to send her and your wife because of the erva, that's fine. But stamazoi to divorce your wife, right? To send her away, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu sonei mishaleach, the one who sends her away, is looked upon. Rabbi Yochanan are not arguing. Rabbi Yochanan is speaking b'sug rishon. Kadosh Baruch Hu we know is when he's misabig civic rishon. It's according to a person's maisim. It's according he's kairo kriyas yamsuf. The Gemara says in Saita, and he puts them together. By him going ahead and divorcing this, then he's Kadosh Baruch Hu hates the mishaleach. However, this is obviously this is according to Rabbi Akiva, right? What do you mean? Right. So in other words, if it's a very good, you shouldn't divorce your first wife. Because again, if you don't have a good reason, it's speaking without reason. In other words, if you don't have a good reason to send her away, if you don't have a good reason to send her away, if you have a reason, you have a reason. So how specific reason? that's that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that if you send her away for no good reason, then that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Sonei Mishalech. Rabbi Yehuda, who says it's going wide on it's going the Baal, is speaking Bezug Sheni. In other words, there's not a big hakpada to go ahead and divorce the second one, and therefore why it's not such a bad thing. I think second marriages, unfortunately, many, I think 70% or 60%, it's a very high percentage, and in divorce. Okay, we'll leave the rest over here for the Siyam, which will Ez Hashem be in upstairs. We're going to be davening 22:8 on Thursday. Anyone who can make it, with davening mincha, anyone can make it. It'll be great. Ez Hashem, tomorrow at 8:15 we'll begin Masechta Kedushin, a wonderful Masechta, and we should continue. As we continue, I wish everyone Mazel Tov on this Masechta. We should be sleicha in our trek to continue to support each other. And listen, guys, this is it. And again, next week. We're going to be broadcasting from the Holy Land.
Right, Sunday, yeah.
I'm out 2 weeks. Steve Geller will be on it.